Glasgow's Central Station. This is the main place trains arrive into from London and all around the UK. It was sadly closed due to the recent fire, but hopefully it will be opening again soon. Today though, we're off to explore Glasgow's transport. With that, welcome to Carl's Travel Channel, where every journey costs less than £200. Please sit back, relax and enjoy the ride. And always remember, the nearest exit may be behind you. For the second day in a row, I have Scottish breakfast at the Crystal Palace Wetherspoons, which I won't bore you with the details again because you've seen it on my last two videos. So let's head off on today's transport adventure.
So breakfast finished, and that was certainly big and full. I'm now having a little walk along to walk some of it off and refresh myself. Heading here under the arches of Glasgow's Central Station, which is adjacent to the Wetherspoons. And just along from here is Tradeston Bridge, and I think also known locally as the Squiggly Bridge.
And you can see why from looking at it.
Though it certainly seems to have a lot of graffiti.
And please remember to like and subscribe. It really does make a difference. Or you can even now follow me on Instagram at Carl's Travel Channel. The bridge was opened on the 14th of May 2009 and crosses Glasgow's most famous river.
It's quite sad really that this bridge is not kept up in a better condition. It does make the whole area look a bit poor.
But right in front is the famous river that is the foundation of much of the UK's maritime history.
However, I really wanted to come down here because it's my first view of the River Clyde.
Yes, you've guessed it right, it's the Clyde.
Right, let's head back into town and check out the subway finally. Hopefully I'll get to do the entire loop.
I arrived back here to St Enoch Square, the traditional home of the Glasgow Subway. And of course the rain continues to fall. This beautiful building used to be the headquarters of the Glasgow District Subway. From when it opened in 1896, it was subsequently a ticket office.
And of course now, it's a Cafe Nero. And another look at this old historic building that's now a Cafe Nero from the other side. And this was originally the headquarters and ticket office for the Glasgow Subway when it opened.
Right, it's time to enter the subway. Brace yourselves, we're going in. Just at the bottom here, someone has left this handy board up with all the fares. £1.85 for a single, £3.50 for a return, or, as I think I'll get, £4.45 for the day pass. So I used the nice machine here to buy tickets, just clicking here and click for the tickets, all day, and there it is, £4.45. One adult, and press here to buy. And there it is, a nice old-fashioned paper ticket. Just like in the London Underground, it's time to go through the gates. As it says up there, we are heading down towards the inner loop. As you can see, trains are very frequent, about every 5 minutes. The subway first opened on the 14th of December 1896, and back then the platforms were made of wood. In the early days at this station, a collision sadly occurred between two trains, injuring 2 people, and the subway was closed for about a month. This also caused a drop in ridership numbers, poached by the city's trams and buses, which we'll see coming up later in the video. Ironically, nowadays it was hard to get this shot down an empty carriage because it's literally so busy on board, which is great to see an historic transport icon back to life. Today I'll be taking the subway anti-clockwise around the circular loop, as you can see here clearly even on board on the display. I head via Cow Caddons round the northern side of the river. Within only about 10 or 15 minutes, we're off. I've arrived at Partick Station, or well, Patrick, spelt wrong. This is the only place on the subway network where there is a proper interchange between the subway and National Rail. It even has its own cafe, Platform 3. From here, however, we will temporarily leave the network and head across to find another fun Glasgow transport-themed activity.
Well, off now to the Riverside Museum, and it's certainly not that close to here, around a 10-minute walk, but it's not too bad and pleasant over these bridges.
Directly opposite the bridge, you will see this building here, and continue to turn to the left and pass this along this road. Then directly ahead, you will see this. The question is, what on earth is it? I discover this bizarre maritime-themed oddity, Glasgow's longest mural, the Dancing Wave. I reserve judgment. What do you think of this? Let me know in the comments below.
I must admit, I thought this was some graffiti, but it's actually a mural. Glasgow's most famous, apparently.
Anyhow, within a few minutes, we arrive at the gates of the Riverside Museum. And here it is, and down we approach to the classic architecturally designed building by Zaha Hadid, which opened in 2011. They also designed the Hungerberg Barn station, as you can see on my video there.
Well, up ahead is the Riverside Museum, and as you can see, it's actually a fairly big, a big hefty place, so we'll find out and see what's inside, because I really have no idea. I've not done any research.
Before we see transport of yesteryear in the museum, here is some modern transport with these Voi e-bikes for hire. Would you use these? Let me know. Because as they say, people make Glasgow. Right, let's head inside in the warm, and yes, unbelievably, it's free. Which is lucky because I forgot to do my research on ticket costs. You can, however, donate money to the museum if you wish to.
Well, I've made it inside, and you just literally walk straight in. There's no long, complicated process. First thing you see is this nice old 1907 tram.
This really does take us right back to the origins of transport in Glasgow. When these were electrified, they were one of the main competitors to the Glasgow Subway.
But it looks like I'm on the wrong side to get into it, so we'll have a look around the other side.
The electrification of the tram network was completed in 1901. And wow, imagine making your daily commute to work on board here. The trams were much cheaper to run than the subway and offered a myriad of more routes. And during the First World War, the subway was sold and nationalised to the Glasgow Corporation. As they developed, the trams got even larger and provided even more competition to the subway, not to mention the mainline railway itself. A further piece of competition were these electric trolley buses. They operated using overhead cables across the streets of Glasgow until 1967. Moving on, I included this, as I thought it was a little bit of a random exhibit. Yes, a Strathclyde police car. Maybe it's in here because it's going to pull over a speeding train. It reminds me of that classic look from shows like The Bill. Still, anyhow, I thought it was a nice exhibit. Now, this display really baffled me. Yes, it's E.T. the Extraterrestrial. If you have any idea why it's in here, please let me know in the comments. And up there is a flying car. Quirky fun exhibits done. Back to what we came in here for, yes, the subway. This is one of the previous generation of trains, which were replaced in 2023 by the current stock. Back then, the trains were affectionately known as the Clockwork Orange, due to their distinctive orange ends. Sorry, one moment, I just need to answer the telephone. And what better place than in a classic old red British telephone box. Sorry about that, it was just my mum calling. Now back to the subway with no more distractions. Through here is this nice underground exhibit. In here is one of the original early subway cars which you could sit inside, but sadly it was full of people, so you'll have to make do with this map instead. Here you can see the original station on the site of Partick and their original names.
And there's a great view of the subway map, and as you can see, the name has changed
from Merkland Street to Partick. Next door to this are some quirky historic shops. If you are interested in model railways in here, the whole world has been miniaturised, including some boats for maritime lovers. I'm curious if you would like to see a video about model trains or boats one day. Let me know in the comments below. Again, off-piste, I have no idea why there is a historic record store in a transport museum, showing the complete history of Glasgow's glorious record-loving past. Well, it's time to do my other job, DJing, and get those records spinning. Moving on now to what many of you on this channel love, the world of ships and maritime, starting here with this beautiful model of the Viceroy of India. This model may look a bit dated, but please excuse it, it was built itself in 1929, and an excellent introduction to Glasgow and the Clyde's glorious shipbuilding past.
Well, this is certainly a nice old P&O relic, and this time I'll get it right, the Peninsula and Oriental Steam Navigation Company, after I got that wrong in my last video.
Probably my favourite exhibit here, sadly, only models of three of the most famous ships ever built on the Clyde. Yes, the three Royal Queens. Starting here with the Queen Mary. They were transatlantic ocean liners sailing out to New York City. Today she resides as a hotel in Long Beach. Second of the trio is the Queen Elizabeth. She was Cunard's offering from 1939 to 1968. And with each upgrade, one funnel was lost. Sadly, she was destroyed by a fire in Hong Kong Harbour. Finally, probably the most famous of them all, and I actually did see her once in real life in Liverpool.
Well, of course, and as it says, one of the most famous ships in the world at the time, the QE2, was built on the Clyde, and here she is.
Randomly, I never knew she was actually built with a white funnel, not the usual red. Overall, I really enjoyed this museum, especially as it was free. There are just so many exhibits in here, you could spend hours walking around, including this really cool car ramp. I also never knew that the Clyde played a role in the American Civil War, as shown here. The river here, illustrated back to front for some reason, really shows how integral the Clyde was, not just to shipbuilding in Glasgow, but ships across the whole of the UK. And there she is herself, the Clyde. Let's head out and get a little closer to her, because moored up here is the tall ship. As you can see from the pricing display, it costs £4.50 for an adult to go inside, and sadly I don't really have time today to make it worth the ticket cost and do the ship justice. You can still get a great view of her from the outside, and here she is, the Glenlee. She has sailed all over the world and was launched on the 3rd of December 1896. She even rounded the Cape of Good Hope, like a more famous ship, the Flying Dutchman. Subsequently named the Isle of Mount from 1898 to 1905. She was eventually sold to the Spanish Navy as the Galatea. Or maybe that's Galicia, I don't know. Let me know how you pronounce that. She's now adorned with an array of colourful flags, illustrating different eras of her past. She also did a stint in Italy as the Clara Stella. She spent a whopping 47 years of service with the Spanish Navy and was eventually laid up in 1993. For maritime buffs, she's known as a bark, but not the type on a tree. A beautiful view of her bow, and in some ways she reminds me of the Cutty Sark, a tea clipper back in London.
And she still has the old figurehead up on the front there.
Sadly, I'm out of time here, and I must head back over the bridge across the Clyde. And this bridge actually is in a much better, well-kept condition than the Squiggly Bridge in town. Welcome to the very originally named Govan-Partick Bridge, because, well, it goes between, yes you've guessed it, Govan and Partick. It's a beautiful V-shaped suspension bridge, designed to look like the cranes either side of the river. I thought this was quite funny. The opening times for the bridge are on Facebook and X. Right, let's go back and have a look down here and get a good view of it from the riverside. And here we are, or there she is. She opened on the 6th of September 2024, so all in all this is a very new bridge, and there is the Riverside Museum directly across, and the good old Glenlee of course, which rather funnily I've only just noticed only has one sail. What's happened to the other one? Almost back at the station are these beautiful old offices of the British Linen Bank, something I'd not heard of before. Then turn left here and you will see this beautiful old 19th century church, opposite Govan Station. Govan also has a large bus interchange to travel from, and behind here is the depot for the subway itself. You can see here the different destinations on offer on the screen. This station was originally known or built as Govan Cross. Once again we're on the inner loop with a handy list of journey times here. As you can add up, a trip around the entire loop would take about 30 minutes. We make our descent back down into Glasgow's underworld as we continue anti-clockwise around the network. I'll do a full walkthrough of the station to show you its entirety. They certainly do like these posters.
Please note
The new modern trains as seen here are a big improvement on the old ones because they have walk-through carriages, and also some of the stations now have electronic screen doors. They can also even operate driverless, but alas, being the UK, that would never happen because it would save money and reduce ticket prices. Let's complete our little walkthrough of the station and now wait for the train. Mind the gap, here she comes. I must admit, however, it is sad they no longer have the classic clockwork orange front ends. The train is quieter this time, so it affords a bit more of a look around inside. These are the all-new Stadler Rail trains and entered service in December 2023. They were built in Switzerland and there are 17 sets on the network. Today the ride quality is much smoother, but back in the day they used to be known as the Squiggly train, which means shaky in Scottish. With only a minute between some of the stations, we pull here into St Enoch. This still has the classic small island platform between the outer and inner loops. Apparently this station still has its original signage from before modernisation, but sadly no time today to check it out. That's it, we've done the entire loop, the entire 30 minutes around, with of course the break in the middle and the little walking over the bridge at Partick instead. A little recap of the stations here to remind you, but don't leave just yet, because there is one final thing I'm itching to go and check out. As we make our ascent, please drop a note in the comments below to let me know of any of your own personal thoughts or memories of the Glasgow Subway, because it's really very interesting to hear about them. And we're back in the glass-domed St Enoch Square with its classic original ticket office. Well, curiosity has got the better of me, so I have to go inside and order a hot chocolate complete with marshmallows. Sadly though, it's too dark and small in here to film, so this is all you get. Tomorrow I'll be up on another exciting adventure from Glasgow to Belfast on the ferry with Stadler Line and CityLink. You can see that video already on my channel. With that, thank you for watching Carl's Travel Channel. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you of course on the next one.